This is Seth Byer, section 021, and this is my friend Adam. He does G-code for a living. And this is just doing the explanations for all the code. Okay, so Adam, this is my C code. I don't have the board set up for it, but what would happen is, as you can see, I set up my pins, which are 4, 8, 7, and as you can see in the board, they have 4, 8, and 7 that correspond to the pins right here. And I just set up these pins so you can understand them, and that's how the code needs them. Just byte the name of it and then the value for where they would be right in there. Because what happened, it's a DC motor right now, but there'd actually be like an LED right there that would flash on and off.
Okay.
And then I set these pins to be an output or an input for the values that I give it. It has a serial port, and that just, the serial begin right here just really sets up for like displaying text to the user so you can see it. And then I have a while loop, and this is while the digital read, it will read the voltage, or it will read if there's a 0 or a 1, meaning if it's on or off. In the top pin, which would be a button right here connected to like D9 or something, the digital pin. Then it would delay for a little, it would turn on, which would mean that it would put a 1 value into the pin, where the LED would be, meaning that the LED would happen to turn on. It would delay for 250 milliseconds, which is 2.5 seconds, and then turn off for 250 milliseconds again. And that would happen whenever the top button, if there was one right here, was pushed. And then the second one is there would be another button down here, and if that was pushed, then it would send a 1 into the LED pin and have it be on for 2 seconds, and then have it be off for half a second. You can see 2,500 milliseconds right there. And that's the first one. And then the thing with C code is that once you put it into your Arduino, it will continue to run until you power it off.
Okay.
All right. And then these are the two that you will be doing. So what happens here is I display to you that you have to enter the number value for a letter, and that if you don't have any letters you need to put in anymore, because it's an 8-character string, you just put a 0 in, and then it'll just draw a line on the XY table that I already showed you. I set, and then right here, see how it says input first letter? It's going to like literally ask you like what the first letter is, and then it's going to take that input, put them in these variable names right here, and then put them into a matrix, and that matrix is going to go through a for loop. And what happens in the for loop is it's going to pull each individual variable that you can see right there, I have 1, 2 through 8. And depending on the time you're in the loop, so like the first time it's going to take L1, the second time it's going to take L2, and then it's going to go through all of these values right here and check to see which one it matches with. So say you put down 13, it's going to go through 1 or 0 through 12 until it gets to 13, and then it's going to go, okay, the value that you gave me at this specific position is 13, so I'm going to draw M. Okay. And this is a function file that I made in like a different spot that will just happen every time you ask for it. And so it'll do that for all letters of the alphabet, and then it will do a fast move to like the next spot, which will be like the spacing in between the letters. And that's really it for this first one. The second one, instead of taking the number values, it's actually going to take the letter values you give it. And by doing it, it was a little tricky, but what I had to do was I take your input, and then I use this variable double right here, which takes a numerical value of a letter, which is actually super cool. And like say A, if I say double A, it's going to give me 65. So what I do here is I subtract the L1, which is the variable name for double A, and I subtract it by 64, which means it gives a letter value of 1, or a numerical value of 1. So that way it does 1 through 26 for all of them. Because say I had Z, that would be 65 plus 26, and then it would just subtract 64, and then realize that it's 26, or, you know what I mean? Like, it would do that. And then again, if like that's 0, it will just move on.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then So you see how this breaks down? This is just, this entire part right here is only for the first one. That's for the first value in the matrix. And then this is completely for the second value, the third value, the fourth, the fifth. So what happens, you'll see the difference between this one and the last one that I showed you. This one is going to ask for each, it's going to ask for the letter value, take it, put it in, go through all that if stuff, and then display it. And then while it's displaying it, it's going to ask you for the next letter value, and then display that, and then the next. So it continuously plots while you type in your values. Unlike the first one, this one, where it will ask all at once, and then it will take all your values.
Okay.
So this is the part where you get to do it yourself. Alright, so let me just run this code.
Can I do them in order? Does it matter?
Yep, no, so this one is a numerical, so any value from 1 through 26.
Oh, yeah. Mr. G.
You don't need that right there.
Oh, you don't need the code?
And numerical, remember? So,
A.
number,
Number.
yep, there you go. So
First
that, so that would be an A, first one. And then press enter, there you go. That would be B, C, D, there you go. Yeah, you get it.
Right.
And then as you can see,
Oh, okay.
it does A, B, C.
Got it.
And then what happens is this one will only take a max of 8 characters,
Right.
and then eventually it will just stop. So that's why it only asked you for 8 numerical values. And then for the second one, I'll run it. And remember, you have to do a single quote, capital letter, and single quote.
Right.
So this is anything that you could write
Okay.
that's 8 letters. And then it will ask you again.
Right. Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
This is the continuous one.
Right.
That's it.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Adam.
Okay.